try to work with more people, seniors. Most final expense leads are kind of focused on that. Try to focus on working with people that there's a good possibility that they're on some form of Social Security. The younger people, the need could be there, but if they're still working, it might not be a steady income. They lose their job, you could be out a policy because they can't afford to keep it. So, your best client, in my opinion, is someone who's on some form of Social Security that's set up on some sort of direct deposit. It's just your job to set those drafts correctly. People talk a whole lot out there about the premium they're writing and how much business that they're doing, but they tend to forget to mention the amount of business that they're either keeping on the books or the amount of business that they're losing. And persistency matters. For one thing, it matters when it comes to renewals, wanting to build those renewals. And honestly, there's companies out there that are just not going to want to do business with you if you don't write good quality business and you're not doing a good job with keeping your business on the books. Even contests, there's plenty of companies out there that run different contests. And majority of those contests, yes, they are based on production, but they're also based on persistency. And I've seen situations. Actually, it happened to me once. And it's probably when I really, really started to focus a lot on my quality of business. So this was back in like 2007, I think, 2008. I had qualified production wise for a company trip, and I found out about maybe a few days before the qualification period ended that I wasn't going to be making the trip because my persistency was not good enough. And I never even realized that. I never really kept track of my persistency when I first got in the business. I'd go out there and I'd write business. I'd see commissions coming in, and it was like rinse and repeat. Let's do it again. What happened was the company I was working with, they started to accept credit, debit card business. I really didn't think a whole lot of it. I would, rather than ask my clients for their account and routing number, I would just get their debit card from them. And I figured, heck, that's a lot easier. They have their debit card right in their wallet. They don't have to run around trying to find their checkbook. And so anyways, it really affected my persistency. And I didn't even realize that at the time that was why. But it made me realize that persistency matters and quality of business. Like I said, in companies, they're not going to want to do business with you if you don't have a good persistency, good quality of business, and you're not going to build up very good renewals. So let's go ahead and get started. This is just a little something I put together. Talks about annualized premium. And this is a very basic example. If you were to write 100,000 of annualized premium in a year at just a 100% commission level, like I said, very basic, pretty simple, easy numbers to put together. It's a big difference in income there. If your persistency is 90%, well, of course, your income is going to be $90,000. If your persistency is at 80%, your income would be $80,000. And then if your persistency was at 70%, well, then you're going to be earning $70,000 for the year. But one thing to keep in mind too, you're also paying for leads. And heck, if your persistency was at 70% and you wrote 100,000 in premium, if you're spending hundreds of dollars a week in leads, you're really not making a whole lot of money. Honestly, you'd probably be making more money working at Target. So again, that's where persistency matters. And then if we look like at the second year, just that one example of even if your persistency your first year was at 90%, that business, the second year, when you're coming into the renewals of that business, well, if 80% of that business stays on the books at a 5% renewal, that's a $3,600 renewal for the year. At 60%, it's $2,700, and at 40%, it's at $1,800. So again, to me, we get paid renewals to keep our business on the books. Uh, Companies aren't just paying a renewal to say, here you go. Thanks for writing that business the first year, and we're just going to pay you forever on it. They're paying you to manage your book of business. And that's what renewals are paid for. So, uh, and then let's talk about mindset. Writing an application and earning a commission it really should just be step one in your process of writing business. You want to look at your client as them being a client for life. You want to make sure that that business is going to stay on the books. It can also lead to other business. Uh, I mean, heck, Medicare and the Medicare Advantage, for example. I mean, heck, that is, I mean, final expense, those Medicare Advantage, that's like the same client in a lot of scenarios. So, I mean, it can lead to additional business, but treat the client as that they are your client for life, that they're not just going to be here one day and then you're moving on to the next. Uh, Show your clients that that you care, and they're going to stick with you. And I think for me, a lot of that has to do with how I present. I mean, yeah, I focus on the need, I focus on affordability, and we're going to talk about that too. But I mean, my clients, they can tell that I really do care about their situation. I had a situation actually about, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago. I remember I knocked on the door, and the guy really wasn't giving me much of a time of day. I tried to get in the door. I couldn't get in. But he's, and I said, well, if now's not a good time, I mean, would you be available tomorrow? I'm going to be back out this way. I could swing on back around tomorrow. And he said, sure, come on back tomorrow. I mean, I thought the chances of him being home were even pretty slim. But he was home, and we sat down. And again, I mean, this guy had his guard up. I think, unfortunately, the insurance business, even just sales in general, a lot of times there's just a bad reputation out there of what your typical salesman is. And so, anyways, I sit down with the guy. We kind of go through everything, and by the time we were done, he was like, Adam, I wasn't even gonna let you in. You came to the door, and I was just gonna pretend like I wasn't home, and something told me that I should just let you in. And I'm really glad that I did, because you're not your typical salesman. He said, I enjoyed doing business with you. I can tell that you care, and I want to bring you more business. So again, I think a lot of it is how you present yourself as well. And if you can show the client that you actually truly do care, it does make a difference. Um, some tips when it comes to help with persistency, some selling tips. Like I mentioned, I like to focus on the need. I also like to focus on affordability. So many agents out there, I feel like all they focus on is face amounts and rates, and that's it. Face amounts and rates. How much coverage do you want? And this is how much it's going to cost. And if all you're selling on is face amounts and rates, and all you're doing is offering the lowest priced product out there, well, when the next product comes out there that beats the product that you wrote, well, you're setting yourself up to get replaced, because that's all you talked about was how you're able to offer the cheapest product out there. You got to add a little bit of value to what you do. And check out a training I did a few weeks back. It's on YouTube. It's called Selling on Value Over Price. And I think that's something too. If you go back and watch that, this will make a lot of sense to you. But again, sell on value. Sell on value. Don't sell on price. And show your client what you can do to help them. But also, we do want to keep it affordable, especially with final expense. I mean, we're working with people that are on a fixed income. They don't have a whole lot of money. And we don't need to be in there trying to take all their money. We just need to make sure that they have enough coverage to cover their expenses. And that's pretty much it. We can always go back and write more later. So, and again, it's like I'm ahead of myself the way I think. I mean, these are points that I put on here, and we already talked about this. So again, sell on value, not face amounts and rates. And I'm telling you, it makes a big difference. So yeah, go back, watch that YouTube that I did a few weeks back that talks about selling on value over price. And I think it'll definitely help you. Um, and setting draft dates properly. I mean, that's huge. Uh, I mean, the one thing that's great is that these days, every one of our clients is on some sort of direct deposit if they're on some form of Social Security, uh, whether they're getting paid on the first, the third, or the second, third, or fourth Wednesday. We can make sure to set those draft dates to coincide with when they receive their deposit. And if you're not setting up drafts to coincide with when they get a deposit like that, you're setting yourself up for chargebacks. Um, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's kind of true. Our clients, again, low income, they might not be the best at managing their money. And I mean, that payment could get drafted on a Monday. And if it's not drafted until Friday, there's a possibility that the money's not going to be there. If you ask your client and you tell them, hey, this policy's on a bank draft, what's a good date? And they tell you the 5th of the month, and you just write down the 5th. Well, you're setting yourself up for chargebacks, because more than likely that person's going to be receiving their Social Security either on the 1st or the 3rd. And if you set it for the 5th, well, you just gave them 3 to 4 days where they can run out there and pull out all their money. And there's a possibility that that money's not going to be there when they get their, when we try to draft the payment, or when your company tries to draft the payment. So I mean, that's huge. If they tell you the 5th, next thing you should ask them, when do you get paid? You get your deposit on the 1st, you get your deposit on the 3rd, and they'll tell you. And don't even give them a reason to set it for another day. Tell them that you have to set it for either the 1st or the 3rd. We have to set it for when you receive your Social Security. And the great thing these days, too, there's so many different carriers out there that have the true Social Security billing, where if the 1st or the 3rd falls on the weekend, well, we can draft prior to that. We can draft that payment on like the Friday when they receive their deposit. Because, well, for those of you that don't know, when people are on Social Security, if the 1st falls on the weekend or the 3rd falls on the weekend, they're going to receive that deposit the last business day prior to the weekend. So again, set the draft date to coincide with the Social Security. Another example, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Wednesday. You might say same thing. This is on a bank draft. What's a good date? And they tell you the 15th. If they tell you the 15th, they're probably thinking that, well, I get paid on the 2nd Wednesday. The 2nd Wednesday is always going to fall before the 15th. The 2nd Wednesday could also fall on the 8th of the month. So if you set it for the 15th, you gave that client a week to play around with their money, where there's a good chance that the money's not going to be there when you need it to draft. So, or if they tell you that I get paid on the 2nd Wednesday, so set it for the 2nd Thursday. Well, the 2nd Thursday could fall before the 2nd Wednesday if the 1st of the month is on a Thursday. So that's another no-no. You don't want to do that. So again, just little things like that are going to make a huge difference when it comes to persistency. Just setting those draft dates to coincide with the Social Security, and try to work with more people. Seniors, most final expense leads are kind of focused on that. Try to focus on working with people that there's a good possibility that they're on some form of Social Security. I mean, the younger people, the need could be there, but if they're still working, it might not be a steady income. They lose their job, you could be out a policy because they can't afford to keep it. So, I mean, your best client, in my opinion, is someone who's on some form of Social Security that's set up on some sort of direct deposit. It's just your job to set those drafts correctly. All right. So then let's see. What do we have next? Don't give the client a reminder that they can always cancel. I mean, I don't even know why I should have to put this on there, but I've seen agents out there that maybe are not the best at closing, and that's their way to close. They use that whole 30-day look back. Well, it doesn't really matter if you're not really sure what you want to do yet. You're going to have 30 days to look over the policy anyways. And if you're closing that way, same thing. You're setting yourself up for chargebacks. Because what's the first thing that person's going to remember when they receive their policy. Oh, yeah, that's that policy that I took out. That guy told me that if I didn't want it, I could cancel it. What do you think they're going to do when they get it? They're probably going to call in and cancel it because that's what you instilled in their mind. So if you're closing that way, same thing. I mean, I've seen other ways of closing that I can't stand where agents say, well, there's really no decision to make today. I just need to see if I can get you approved. And same thing, if you're closing that way, I mean, there's a good chance you're going to set yourself up for chargebacks because the client doesn't even realize that they're taking out a policy. You're getting their bank information from them. Underwriting is going through. Yes, maybe they're getting approved, but it's like they don't even realize that they're taking out a policy. I was actually in a house a couple months ago, and when I got there, I was talking to the lady. She said, yeah, I recently took out a policy and I didn't even realize it. All of a sudden, I saw money coming out of my bank account. The agent said that he just wanted to see if I can get approved. And yeah, she didn't even realize that she was committing to a policy. To me, I think something like that is close to fraudulent, should not be done, shows that you don't know what you're doing and that you don't know how to sell properly. And again, you're setting yourself up for chargebacks and poor persistency. Once somebody comments and the app that stays is the app that pays, and that's true. And if you're selling, like I just mentioned, with that sort of closing technique, you're just setting yourself up for chargebacks because that person's not going to trust you. They're not going to want to do business with you. It's like you pretty much just scammed them. So let's see what else we got here. Oh, and if you like what you hear so far, feel free to check out my website, adambrsan.com, and subscribe for future trainings. You'll get an email every week to let you know what that week's topic is going to be. So after the sale, I recommend to save copies of all of your applications. And I think that's really, you're supposed to save copies. You're supposed to keep record of your applications for like at least a few years, I think, based off of like what the Department of Insurance wants you to do. But save copies of all of your applications into like either Google Drive or some sort of cloud storage, iCloud, Dropbox. And I recommend to create a spreadsheet with all of the policyholder information. And when you do that, well, what it does, it's going to help you where you can create like a leads database. And well, actually, that's kind of another topic too. You can create a spreadsheet of all of the leads that you've ever gotten. But what I'm talking about today is putting together a spreadsheet of all of your policyholders that will help you to be able to do annual reviews. Keeping up with your clients. Again, making them feel like they're more than just that one sale that you made and like they're never going to see you ever again. Go back to your clients, do annual reviews, keep your clients up to date with what the current costs are of funerals. And the fact that whatever you wrote a year ago, there's a possibility it's not enough now, and it more than likely is not going to be enough in the future to pay for everything. So, do annual reviews. And this is just an example. Let me see if I can make this bigger for you guys here. This is just an example of like a lead that I put together. Basically, what I do is I take that spreadsheet and then you do like a mail merge in like Microsoft Word or any sort of document software. And then every single name that you have in that spreadsheet, as you can see, the different fields I have, their name, their address, the company that it was written with, the issue date, their birthday. This is all generic information here. I just use Settlers because I know that's a company that doesn't do business anymore. Not wanting to really throw any names of different carriers out there. That's not really what I'm out there to do. But beneficiaries. So you have the beneficiaries listed, the face amount of coverage, and then you print that out, you save it, and that's just like another lead. And you can put that right into your leads that you're going to be working while you're out in the field. When you're out in that area, you can go out there and you can catch up with the client. And this is what I do. I mean, I take that lead, I go straight to the door. Hey, Mrs. Jones. Remember me, Adam, with Unity Life Group? I was over at your house about a year ago. I helped you with the final expense plan with settlers, whatever. I was in the area and I just wanted to stop by to do a quick policy review to make sure everything is still set up the way that you would like. Do you have 5 minutes to go over it real quick? And the great thing about a policy review is that the client already knows you. They already trust you. They've already done business with you. They've already let you in their house before. So, I mean, what are the chances that they're going to blow you off and not want you to come in? I mean, more than likely, they're going to let you in and you're going to be able to kind of go through what you want to go over with them. So, when you're in the house, I verify uh, everything that's on the lead. Thanks so much again, Mrs. Jones, for being a good client and keeping up with your policy. I know this is important for you and your family. I'm just really glad that I was able to help you with this. Now, I have down here that you have your daughter Shirley as your beneficiary. And if something were to happen to you and Shirley at the same time, I have your son Michael will be taking care of it. Is that still how you want it set up? And, either yes or no. If they tell you no, I want to change it, well, you can always fill out a change of beneficiary form and you can update it for them. More than likely, they're probably just going to tell you yes, that everything is still kind of set up the same. And then I'll get to the coverage amount that I have on there. Okay, I see here that you have $10,000 in coverage and you're paying $45.80 a month. And that comes out of the bank on the first of each month. Now, Mrs. Jones, I know right now you're 65 years old. And I mean, you're probably going to live to be at least 85 or 90, don't you think? And they always tell you yes, at least most of the time they're going to tell you yes, that yeah, they're going to live a long time. So then what I pull out is this funeral cost inflation chart that I put together. And that's something that this is something that if you want, let me know. I can email you a copy of, or even if you go to adambrsan.com and just subscribe to the weekly trainings, put a little note in there, and I can email you one of these funeral cost inflation charts I put together. But this just shows, based on inflation, what the current cost of a funeral is, and then every single year how much it's could really go up just based on inflation. I used what the average inflation rate was from 1972 to 2022, so over 50 years. And then I did the inflation of 6%. Now, I did project it at 8% because at one point I know our inflation rate was like at 8%. And I had to go back down to 6 because it was pretty sickening to see how much a funeral would cost in 20 years if the inflation stayed at like 8%. I mean, it was pretty bad. But anyways, so I usually just base it off of the 4%. And so, Mrs. Jones, again, I know you told me that you're probably going to live to be at least another 20 years. Well, live to at least another 20 years. Well, I mean, again, right now, as you can see, the average cost for a burial, it's around $11,000. 11,600 or so. Well, in 20 years, when you're 85, the average cost of that funeral is going to be over $25,000. And if inflation's at 6%, it's going to be almost 40,000 to get buried. So it's great that you have enough coverage for right now, that 10,000, but I think we need to do a little bit more for you because, you live another 20 years. I just don't feel like that 10,000 is going to be enough. And, they're always going to tell you, yeah, how much would it be for another 5,000 or another 10,000? And so then I'll put together a few rates. I'll do maybe 5,000, 10,000, and even maybe 15,000. And, they might go with the lowest one. They just got into a policy a year ago. Maybe they can't afford a whole lot more now, but, I mean, heck, a little something's better than adding nothing at all. So they might add 5 now. I'm going to go back in another year anyways, and I'll probably go through the same exact thing with them again and show them this chart again. But it's a great way to add additional coverage. And again, you're staying in touch with your clients. You're treating them like they're a person. They're not just a number. They're not just someone that you sold a policy on one time and that you're never going to see them again. So, like I said, if you want to copy that, let me know. But it's definitely been helpful for me, and it definitely works to add coverage. So, and again, like I said, it's building that relationship with the client, that you're not just selling them that one time and then afraid to go see them again. Um, so, and again, if you're looking to, if you like what you heard today, if you're looking for new opportunity, check out unitylifegroup.com or adambrsan.com. Fill out an inquiry. I'd be more than happy to set up a call with you. We've put together a really good program for agents, especially new agents that need help when it comes to leads. I mean, leads, again, is the name of the game. And a lot of times, even people maybe that are coming from other opportunities where they weren't successful, most people, if they're looking for new opportunities, a lot of the times is because they just aren't making a whole lot of money where they're at. The hard part is when you're getting into the insurance business and you don't have a whole lot of money, how can you fund a steady flow of leads on a regular basis? And there's a few companies that will finance leads. Unity Life Group finance leads is, for agents as well. So, we can get you a steady flow of leads on a regular basis. And again, it's working out really well. We have a lot of agents that have been very successful over the last 6-7 months on this program, where they're not paying for their leads up front. All they got to worry about is going out and making sales, and the leads are paying for themselves. Now, again, kind of rinse and repeat, do it again. Every single week, they have a fresh 20 to 30 leads every week that they're working. And it's working really well, along with the training and support that they get. Again, I mean, I've been doing this over 20 years now. I mean, my goal is to build up something pretty big, and a lot of people have been taking advantage of it lately. So, yeah, check out unitylifegroup.com, fill out an inquiry. Be more than happy to set up a call with you if that's something that if you are looking for a new opportunity. So, and again, you can check out my training. And again, I throw everything on YouTube. So, if you want to go back and watch this again later, this will probably be on YouTube by some time tonight. And that's about it. Thanks again for coming on this morning. Kind of short and sweet and to the point, but again, keep up with your business. Treat your clients like they're more than just a number, and sell based on value, not just based on price. Set those draft dates properly. That's a real big part of this with keeping the business on the books. And when you get a notification from a company that a payment was missed, do whatever it takes to get in touch with that client. If you call them and they don't answer, well, then kind of the same thing. Put a lead together, go back out to their house and see them, and keep on it. It's going to make a huge difference with your income if you keep up with your business. And like I said, more companies are going to value your business. They're going to want to do business with you. You're going to be able to reap the rewards from different companies when it comes to earning different trips and cash bonuses, things that they're not going to give an agent if their persistency is too bad because they're writing poor quality business. So I hope this was all useful to you guys, and I hope you learned a little something today. And like I said, feel free to reach out to me if you need anything. I hope you all have a great week, and I'll look forward to seeing you again next week. Thanks.